I'm sorry to tell you guys, but we've all been lied to about ice out smallmouth fishing and the need to fish deep. In today's video, I'm going to share with you guys how to fish shallow, how to have success, and how to catch ice out smallmouth in shallow water with 3 simple tips. That's a big one. Just gonna send it. Look at how fat that fish is. Key number 1 sounds really obvious, but find warmer water. This is something that is super critical. When these fish are moving shallow, you want to look for the warmest water that you can possibly find. And there's a couple key ways you can really look for these areas and locate it before you even get to the lake. The first one is by looking for darker bottom composition areas. You're looking for areas that have that darker, muddier bottom, maybe shale rock, that darker bottom. It's going to heat up faster, it's going to hold heat longer, and it's going to draw those fish to the shallows. Number 2 is look for inflows. This time of year, the snow's melting, and when the snow melts, you're getting a flow into your body of water, and this is a really good place to look for that warmer water, where that water flows into your lake, into your river, into your marina, whatever it might be. A lot of times that runoff is going to be warmer water, and it's going to congregate the fish there. And then conversely, you want to look for areas that are protected. You want to look for areas that aren't wind blown. You want to look for areas where there's not a ton of water movement and there's a lot of sun beating down on visible cover. That's a big smallie. Oh my. This visible cover is going to warm up quickly, and it can help warm the water around it. When you're fishing these marinas, when you're fishing these shallow bays on the main lake, a lot of times it's going to warm up faster because you have that visible cover, you have the sun beating down on it, water temps are going to skyrocket really quickly, and those fish are going to push up. It's going to give you a great opportunity to sneak up on those fish and get them to bite. A really great bait to pick apart some of these shallow water areas is a very, very simple Ned rig. This here is just a Berkley hitworm on a little 1/8 ounce head going with something really light, relatively small that you can pick apart that visible cover with, or those rocks on the bank that are heating up more quickly. A little Ned rig can get the job done for you guys. I'm going to have all these products linked down in the description below so you guys can go down there, click on them. It'll take you to Omnia's website and you guys can check these out and purchase them yourself. But a little Ned rig is a great way to target these fish in shallow water when they're moving up there in the spring. Key number 2 is finding current, because current is the ultimate equalizer. And I learned this from my man, Patty Renwick from Stray Casts, but he was catching some fish in really, really cold water this winter because he was fishing current breaks. And current really positions fish in super predictable areas. So for looking in current areas, for looking in river systems where you have pretty heavy flow current, you can find these fish pushed up on those shallow flats behind really predictable current breaks in current areas, feeding up. So finding areas where there's a lot of current, where there's a lot of inflow, where there's runoff into your body of water is going to be a really key area to look. Water is going to warm up more quickly. Fish are going to be positioned really obviously, and that's a great way for these fish to set up to ambush bait fish. Now when I'm fishing current areas, a lot of times I'm fishing it relatively quickly, and I'm going with baits like the Berkley Fritside. I really like the Fritside 7. It dives down to that 5 to 7 foot range, which is typically where I'm looking for these early spring fish. Really the biggest key is having a bait that's going to stand out in that dirty water. So using those chartreuses, using the reds, are going to help that bait silhouette stand out in that muddier, dirtier water, especially in current situations where there's a lot of flow and water movement. Those brighter colors are going to stand out. Another great bait when you need something a little bit louder or something a little bit different than what everyone else is throwing is a lipless crankbait. That's a big one. Oh, God, that's a giant. Look at how she ate that trap. Frickin' gone. Lipless crankbait's a great bait because you can fish it slow, you can fish it fast, you can keep it up in the water column or fish it down on the bottom, which I think goes overlooked. So picking up a lipless crankbait is a really, really versatile tool, even in shallow water situations when you need to create a little bit of commotion. So don't be afraid to pick up a lipless crankbait or a flat-sided crankbait like the Fritside 7 and have success in those shallow water current situations. And number 3, I think this is the most overlooked thing. You need to find shallow water with deep water access. Now, yes, they're going to be fishing shallow water, but they still want to have access to that deep water. They still want to be able to push up, Get up there in that shallow water when it's sunny, when the conditions are right, and feed when the water's warming. But as soon as something changes, as soon as it gets overcast or gets cold, these fish need to have access to that deep water. So find those shallow water areas, whether it's your main lake basins, it's your small bays, those shallow water areas that are going to warm up really quickly with those darker bottoms, that still have access to deep water, because those fish can move up and down really quickly. A lot of times that sun is going to warm up those shallow flats. It's going to warm up that shallow isolated cover, those darker bottom areas. But as soon as that sun goes away, as soon as those temperatures start to fall, those fish want to be able to push back out into that deeper water. This is not a very stable time of year, so fish are going to be constantly in transition. So looking for those shallow water areas with the steep drops or the hard drops into deeper water is going to give those fish the ability to move up and down really quickly, move up when it's warm and they're willing to feed, and then move down when they're pretty much inactive. So keep that in mind when you're looking for areas where smallmouth might be pushing to. And now obviously I'm going to be fishing a Ned rig to the visible cover. It's going to be a great bait to pick apart those specific areas. But if I'm looking to cover water on a flat, I can pick up a lipless crankbait, or one of my favorite baits for covering flats is a jerk bait. Okay. That one is feeding up to get fat. Look at that fish's belly. This is the Berkley Stunna 112+1, and I'm going to basically match the color to the water conditions that I'm fishing. White body baits when it's a little bit overcast, clearer body baits when it's really sunny and clear water, or maybe some brighter baits like this table rock shad that has a little bit of chartreuse when that water is a little bit dirty. But don't be afraid to pick up a jerk bait in shallow water when you're covering flats to try and trigger those fish to bite, because a jerk bait's a great tool to trigger reaction bites as well as trigger feeding bites from shallow water. Feeding smallmouth. So whenever that ice leaves your body of water, don't be afraid to push shallow. A lot of people think you need to stay deep because that's where all the bait is, but the fact of the matter is, when you think about ice out fishing, the best place to find bait fish and perch and all of these other small minnows is up in shallow water. So the smallmouth are going to be right there. They're looking to feed. This could be up in a river system. It could be in your local marina. Or if you're looking at a bigger body of water, it could be those shallow bays that push off to the side of the lake. Those are a great place to look for these shallow water fish, especially in clean water situations. Keep those 3 keys in mind: shallow warming water, find current and moving water, and be sure to have access to deeper water locations, and you guys will have success in shallow water this spring. If you guys are interested in checking out more tip videos, click this video right here. If you guys want to check out some fishing content from early spring trips, click this video right here. And if you're not already subscribed, click right here. It'll help you subscribe to my channel and let you know when I post more videos just like this one. As always, thank you guys for watching. Take care, tight lines. God bless. Pursue your passion.